Isn't it wonderful in life when something comes along and makes us aware that there's other things other than our home and maybe a space to entertain? Suddenly, the plant life comes to life in our eyes and with mentors around us. That is what has happened here in Columbia, Tennessee. Sue Harris, it's beautiful here, but you didn't always see the world with plants in it, did you?
Not at this level, no.
Someone mentored you and introduced you to a way to garden, didn't they? Tell us about that journey.
My mother and grandmother gardened, but as we saw the backyard, we wanted to do more, and things interest us. We went to garden shows and things like that, and we got involved in the Maury County Master Gardener program.
That's excellent learning too, isn't it?
It is.
Behind us, you have a magnificent water feature. Why don't you tell us how Rick started this?
In our Master Gardener program, there was a waterscape guy, and Rick asked him a million questions and got really interested in building the water features, and the waterfall wasn't the only one. He kept going, so he's really enjoyed building those.
And it is interesting that the fact that it is hot,
Yes.
but the sound of that water and the coolness that you're thinking about, it does its trick, doesn't it?
It does, and we were both in the medical field, and it was just relaxing to come here in the afternoon and sit in the swing and listen to the water.
Well, tell us about your bananas.
They have kind of taken over. They are hardy bananas, so they grow that big from the ground every year. We just cut them off when frost comes and mulch over them, and they come back next year. So they make it look a little tropical. People always talk about, I feel like I'm on an island. And
Well, that's what you want, and that's the water. That's such a great combination. And I noticed that in this array of plants that you've got in here, you do have some annuals, you do have perennials. I do notice that your roses, are these the knockout roses?
They are not. They are oh so easy, proven winners. And they grow, I cut them way back in the winter too, and that's as big as they get, so.
You believe in your pruners, don't you?
I do. I work with those a lot, so.
And I can't help but notice the foliage over there. That looks to be like an amaryllis.
It is, and that was one of my Christmas amaryllises that I bought at a local big box store and put them in the ground, and they've multiplied through the years.
So how deep did you plant them?
6 inches. The bulb has to be 6 inches, and they come back every year.
So we don't really have to baby them, do we?
No.
And I do note that you have herbs growing. This is a great border for things to spill over, and it's very aesthetically pleasing. You do have some interesting annuals in here, Sue, and in particular the gomphrena you have. That is a beautiful purple. Mine are pink, but I have to say that radiates in this sun.
Does.
Doesn't it?
Everybody that sees it is just so infatuated with it.
This spirilla has given me an inspiration.
It is. We love those. They're candy corn spirea, and as the fall comes, the red and orange, it turns from the chartreuse color to the reds and oranges and just puts you in the fall mood. We have several dotted through the landscape, and we just love them.
And underneath, I see that you also have 2 different varieties of ajuga. Tell me about these.
Yes, one is a mahogany splendor, and the other was just a give me. My sister-in-law shared with me some, so I like ground cover. It saves you from picking so many weeds.
It does. This looks like the chocolate one, but I love that little miniature one. Okay,
Yes.
Let's keep on strolling. No border is complete without a Japanese maple, is it?
Exactly.
Tell us me about this one.
This is a waterfall Japanese maple. It's been here about 20 years, and it's just that nice, cool, crisp color green, and it, likes Tennessee weather.
And this one is extremely large and nice, and in its younger days, it would begin to have that layering of the waterfalls, but it's complicated to keep them trimmed that way.
It is.
That is just beautiful. Crepe myrtle, we all want them, don't we?
We do.
So you are keeping that at a certain size, aren't you?
We are, because it's so close to the house. We don't want it, it would naturally get much bigger than it is, but we want to keep it in a certain place. And you know, the law of crepe myrtles is to prune them correctly.
Yes,
So,
not crepe murder.
yes, yes,
Yes, I agree. Now this is something I covet, I think.
yes.
Your Mexican petunia. Mm-hmm. Strange name, isn't it?
It is.
Now, tell me about this.
This was a giveaway from a friend, and it loves its life right here. If it loves its life, it gets really tall, and if it's in shade a little bit, it will not get as big. But the kind of neat thing about it is it drops its blooms every evening. And then
These are fresh every day?
every day. And it will bloom again in the morning with different blooms.
I did not know that. Oh, and I
Yes.
see the potentials
Yes.
for new
And
day
it,
dawning.
it will do it all summer long.
Sue, you've done the right thing here. You've put this white, beautiful limelight. What do you do to maintain the limelight hydrangea?
You prune them the end of the winter, early spring, a third of the way.
Yes.
You know, your goal is to make your stems strong so they don't fall over.
Yes.
And the plan with this border was to have that difference in the dark foliage and the red blooms and the white blooms of the hydrangea. And this year especially, it did it exactly like I wanted it to. So.
Don't you love that?
Yes.
And then the star of the show right now is
Yes.
your hibiscus.
The perennial hibiscus. It's a proven winner summerific series. It's the holy grail. And it's a showstopper. People stop on the street and ask what it is and how do they get one. And
You just never know who you might introduce to gardening. that
it's
way,
true.
You know?
And that affected me too. When you see something pretty,
Exactly.
you want to know about it. So.
Absolutely. I'm sorry, but this right here always pulls me in, this color.
A sunshine ligustrum.
This one is a spotlight.
Yes.
Yes.
It loves the sun.
And I can tell that you have another spirea right here too.
Yep.
It-
And
it-
that candy corn's starting to have a little more color than the
Yes.
other one because it's in full sun. So
Yes.
it will soon be all red and orange.
And I can tell, again, all of that, this just unifies all colors together. That's why I like it. And then I noticed that you have flanked your doorways with altheas. Do you have any issues with those?
Not really. Early in the spring, sometimes the bugs like to find them early, and just a little spray of, I'll use Captain Jack's dead bug, and
Yes, that's
they're
good.
done.
That is a good, and it's a
Organic.
organic.
Yeah,
That's
trying
right.
trying to save the bees and all the
Okay.
pollinators.
Well, let's look around and make sure we haven't missed anything, okay?
All right.
One of the things I enjoy about your garden is that you've got some elevation into some of your planting areas. And we do know that's user friendly the older we get. I'm not ashamed to say that.
Me either.
And I do like this stacking stone, and that's easy to do in a circle, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Well, and I see what your theory is now with how you select your plants. You want them to be here today, next winter, and next spring. So right here,
This is a Veronica that comes back every year. It flushes in the spring and blooms really pretty, and then kind of takes a rest, and then as it cools off, they bloom again. Lemon coral sedum
yes, that's
is
very
just,
good.
it couldn't be easier. It loves the sun and does great. The alocasias were from a friend's garden, and she shared, and you just keep spreading them around. So
And you don't have to dig that in the winter.
no, it
That is
dies back,
wonderful.
and we just cut it off, and it's good.
Well, this is the creme de la creme. Let's say this bear's britches blooming right here.
It is, and the bloom lasts so long. It's so fun.
And I can see that this is a bee catcher. Look how that is made. It's somewhat like a snapdragon.
Yes.
Any kind of a blossom that has that little thing that they can crawl into
And hide out.
and,
Yes.
and collect their pollen.
Yep.
It is quite obvious that you had a plan, and then later, as you began to use your home, that you wanted to add more entertainment. And then Rick is wonderful to what he can do for you in establishing this garden. And it's a wonderful place. And I think you shared it with me earlier, you share it with people. And that is the most important thing of all. Thank you and Rick, because this is a wonderful place to come, and I've learned a lot from you, and I thank you for the time you've taken to allow the volunteer gardener to be here.
You're welcome. We enjoyed having you.
Thank you. If you like gardening, you'll want to subscribe to this channel. We showcase gardeners, plants, and the joy that growing can bring.